we are not like unicorns. A whole bunch of people, Black families. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh my gosh, like in this. No, we are not outliers. A whole bunch of us. Imagine that.
Okay, like for real. Let's get
Black families love their children who are involved.
Right.
Imagine that.
Protect their children.
Like, or
like
advocates,
regular
like,
everyday stuff.
Right. We love our kids. Who knew? Like, we encourage them to be their best. Like, it's just, yeah. Goodness.
That is so fun.
Let me put the spirit of Christmas, ooh, back in your soul. Lord have mercy. Listen, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Cooking Merry Christmas, baby.
And like one of the things that used to it didn't bother it, I guess it did bother me. I guess I didn't acknowledge it. Was I was always like, I had a potty mouth. I have grown from that. And even though I had like a potty mouth, I was always the quiet one. Like I wasn't like, I'm gonna do my homework, I'm gonna hang out with you a little bit, then I'm gonna roll up for ethical because I don't need the crazy in my life.
Right.
And so I think I was like the consistent, like, Michelle, third wheel, she's here, that's my girl. But you know, it was this kind of thing. So then I'm like, when I kind of like created my own lane and had other stuff and I wasn't as available, like that is when some more uncomfortable conversations happened. And I was just like, I don't understand. When everybody else had a life and couldn't hang out, I was cool. Now when I get a life and I can't hang out, then all of a sudden I'm not being a friend. And I was like, I am super like, what's happening? Like, how am I not a friend?
Yeah, like you said, expectations. I definitely can understand that with the whole expectation thing. You know, like, okay, you've always been, at least my experience with you, I can't speak for anybody else, but I feel like I know you very, 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 very well for the decades that we've been in this thing. And you've always been like the loyal type. You've always been the consistent type. You've always been that steady, like, if you can't count on nobody else, like this one right here, this Michelle, oh yeah, that's my girl. So, you know, I think that, like you said, when you started kind of doing other things, then maybe some people, you know, were like, well, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? What's going on? But, you know, you were growing and becoming this different person and woman. Now you were still loyal, but you were just, you know, gaining more life experiences and doing your own thing. And which we all have to do, you know?
Right. And we just all did them at different times.
At different times.
And
in different ways.
And I feel like some stuff I like some things I just, not looking back now, like I know some things like I definitely should have done that I didn't do. And a lot of that was because of fear and whatever, you know, whatever stuff. But like when I think about the life I want for Malcolm, and if we ever decide to have another one, because, you know, sister getting old, I don't know.
You 40 and fine.
I don't want him to limit himself. Based off of like whatever. The biggest thing we tell that Eric and I talk about is like, we did certain things and it helped our character because we had to, right? Like you and I working our little checks, you know, we been doing money orders for college applications. Just whatever fee we got to pay, we, you know what I'm saying? And so we know how to make something out of nothing. Like that's the thing.
That's right.
But I was like, for Malcolm, his making something out of nothing doesn't mean it has to resemble my struggle. And like, that's the whole point of working hard, is not so that we don't like give him this burden of like, no, you will, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want him to go to school, high school. Now we probably, I don't know. Well, we might, when he goes to high school, we could be living here, but you have to have a car to get to work here. Cause I don't know how this boy is going to get anywhere. We barely got sidewalks because we are in the cut.
Same here. We don't have sidewalks here either where we are.
Like, I want you to work. Like, I would rather you volunteer your time, give up your time to help someone else, be of service to someone else. that way, and we give you like some type of like, you know, monthly stipend or something.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that's not like, you're not working because you got to help us with like a bill, you know, or you're not working because, you know, I can't help you get lunch money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of thing, like, because it adds on an extra layer of stress that I feel like we put kids in adult situations. Like, I want you to be responsible. I want you to understand that everything that we do is not just because you deserve it. But I also don't want you to put him in a situation where he feels he can't make decisions because, you know, he has to worry about adult things that don't,
adult issues, adult burdens.
Because I felt by the time we were like 18, I felt like I was already 40 with 2 kids.
Girl, let me tell you, thank God for this melanin that I have not wrinkled yet. But by the time I was 18, girl, I was tired.
Right.
I was exhausted. And, you know, Sean and I have similar conversations. Like, I'm always thinking about, it's like, I want the kids to have the bounce back that I have. I want them to have the thick skin like I have. I want them to have the good parts of me, but not earn their stripes the same way I had to earn mine.
That's good.
But it's like, it's a struggle because it's like, well, if like, you can't transfer some of this stuff. Like, you can't teach your kids some of this stuff. Some of this is really like, they figure it out when their back's against the wall. But as a parent, I'm trying to make it so that their back is never against the wall. And so there's this weird balance I feel like you have to find that I'm still trying to figure out, to be honest. And I've been a mom almost 20 years. But it's like, yeah, I want them to have some of that grittiness, and I want them to, you know, but it's just like, you can't teach that. Either you're gritty or you're not. Or you develop it because you have to. No one just develops it because they feel like it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you have no other option. Right.
No other option.
Right. This is how I eat. Like,
you know, and it's hard, and it's something I think about often because, you know, I'm not trying to raise no punks. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Lord knows, like, I was built for this, and they have a completely different story. Praise God. So they're not built for it. So, you know,
which is good. Like, that's such a great point. Like, that was what we talked about when we were kids. Like, I was like, my kid will not be dealing with this. Like, we talk about this all the time. Like, this shit right here, this will not happen.
Yeah.
And so, like, now I worry because I have focused so much on what won't happen that I haven't focused on like what I do want to happen. Right. Like, recognize like this little part, like, he's about to be 4, but like, he's like his own little person. Right. The one thing I talked to Eric about, and I know a lot of like baby boomers we have an issue with me, is like, Malcolm is our responsibility. It's Eric and our responsibility, but like, we don't own him. And I feel like my mom felt like she owned me because I was her child. I was like, how I got here, that was on you and my father. Like, y'all were a conduit for me to be here.
Right.
And it was your job to cultivate me to be a good person, to be a good citizen. Some of that, good citizen, I'll give them some credit. Like, that was their part, but like, we recognize that Malcolm has his own purpose, his own destiny. My job is to cultivate what is really great inside of him so that he can activate it and then go on and do great things. Because me and Eric ain't gonna be here forever, right? And so he kind of leads that thing. And like, that's the way, like, we are kind of, let me tell you something, because Malcolm, if nothing else, this boy's confident. Now I'll be like, listen, like, we have words of affirmation in this house. Does he believe he can take on anything? I told you before, I was like, maybe I should back up off of these affirmations because this boy believes he can take on
himself.
Like, but like, I'm just, because I know I just didn't have the confidence. I don't feel like I was like, I definitely didn't have that. And that's the thing I want him to know. Like, even if you don't know something, you will know it, or you can get it. If you don't have it, you're going to find a way to get it. And no one is going to determine the outcome for you. Like,
that's right.
And it took me a long time to get there. And like, now I want him to know that before he starts like first grade. Okay? Because
that's right.
If you feel like you've been wronged, your parent, you know that you like, myself and Eric, like, we're gonna be your advocates. Like, we gonna handle it.
Yep.
You do what you gotta do. We're gonna do what we gotta do. And I didn't feel that way. We had a conversation on Facebook, and it was about a 5th grade teacher. Not even gonna say that chick's name, but that lady was horrible to me. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And it was so good to see that other students in my class acknowledged that. And I was like, because at that time, I felt like I was alone. And like, this lady was for real messing with me. And then it was some people in our who were a year older in our class, not in our class, but in class of 98, who had the same person, and was like, their parent had to come up to the school and basically have a conversation with her, with that teacher. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about, like the importance of your parent being advocates. My mother was like, well, why would she lie on you? I'm like, me? Right. Like, just, oh, that lady was horrible. That just made, and I was just like, I don't think Shaker is place for me. Like, it's crazy. It was so hard. Like, I was
it was definitely hard.
I was like, I felt like them public schools of Cleveland had failed me. And I was like, I don't know how I was making straight A's, because I felt like I knew nothing when I came to it. I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, I'm not fitting in, because most people know each other since like kindergarten. Just, oh my goodness. It was hard to, I don't know if I ever felt like I belong, like, you know, I went to Shaker. I don't know if I felt like community. It might have been like maybe high school where I started to feel like, you know, community, but I still felt like, you know, I was on the outskirts.
On the outside. That's how I always felt. I always felt like I was, like with my friends, I felt like y'all were my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a whole lot of family support. Like you said, I didn't have, you know, nobody was coming to open houses. Nobody was coming to parent-teacher conferences. Like, I was not, you know, nobody was checking my homework. Nobody was quizzing me on spelling words. Like, me and you used to quiz each other on spelling words. Like, you know what I'm saying? My friends were my family. And so that's why you guys were so important to me, because you guys did fill a void that I had. And so, you know, I remember getting stuff with teachers. I remember in 3rd grade, I felt like my 3rd grade teacher was racist. And I remember writing her a letter telling her I thought she was racist. And I went home and told my mom, and she was like, okay. You know, but I've always been the type, like, if I don't get it off my chest, it's gonna eat me up inside. Right. And so that's what helps me to communicate, because I have to get it out. If I don't get it out, then I'm going to dwell on it, and I'm going to think about it overthink it and whatever. And so, you know, so yeah, in 3rd grade, that was a whole situation, because then she gave it to like the principal. So then the principal calls me in, and I have a meeting. I'm in 3rd grade, no parent in the room. And I'm having a conference with the teacher and the principal, and I'm in 3rd grade, and we're talking about racism and why I feel like you are racist against me. And I'm giving examples, and I'm in 3rd grade.
Right.
Like, that is
crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
3rd grade is what? That's, how was on 3rd grade, girl?
Like, well, see, Reagan is in 4th grade, and she's 9. So like 8?
8? Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like, why they even have a conversation with me without my mom there is beyond me.
Yeah.
But anywho, but yeah, having to be an advocate for self or whatever, you know, I want the kids to have that fire and to be able to hold their own, but I don't know if they necessarily are given opportunities for that, because stuff go down. Oh, I'm at the school real quick. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Listen, I was like, you ain't got to, it's like, we'll talk about what Malcolm did. Well, let's just talk about, like, you know, because if he was out of line, like, that'll be corrected. Because, you know, but I also would be like, you know, he wasn't wrong for what he said. Maybe just, you know, hopefully he wouldn't be disrespectful. So let's talk about this over here. And like, that's gonna be key, especially in our area too, because it's not like, this is just, we have gotten an influx more of diversity, and people who've been in certain roles, positions for a long time, they don't know how to deal. And
yeah.
So, yeah. And I'm like, this is not the family. And it's like, and we are not like unicorns. A whole bunch of people, like families. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh my gosh, like in this, no, we are not outliers. A whole bunch of us. Imagine that.
Okay. Like, for real. Let's get
Black families love their children who are involved.
Right.
Imagine that.
Protect their children.
Like, or
like
advocates.
Regular,
like,
everyday stuff.
Right. We love our kids. Who knew? Like, we encourage them to be their best. Like, just, yeah. Goodness.
That is so.
So you had brought up something you gave me a compliment. I appreciate it. About being a good friend, but I wanted to tell people how awesome Robin Martin is. Even though we, again, didn't care for it. But
just to reiterate in case you missed it first.
Like, not, and you know what, I don't know, like, Robin was always like, she was always cheerful, and I felt like ain't nobody that happy. And now that I'm an adult, I was like, I had the issue because I just hadn't experienced someone who was genuinely that excited just to be alive.
Just to be alive.
Like, she'll walk somewhere like, hi, like, it would be so dramatic. And I'm like, who is this
That
chick?
is so funny.
I'm like, who is this chick? Because our mutual friends at that time, they didn't act, you were just different. And I grew, I came to the suburbs 5th grade. Prior to that, I was in the hood of Cleveland. And so it's sad to say, like, you have to be a little bit more aggressive. Just where I went to school, but also where I live. Like, you can be nice, but you got to be aware. You can't be afraid to get beat up. Like, you might win one, you might lose two.
You might take an L, right?
And so I think I did have a chip on my shoulder. It was pretty big. It was pretty thick. It was there. And because I was always looking like it's something about to jump off, like somebody about to say something stupid, whatever. And then I think it happened is that persona followed me from like 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. And I really wasn't who I was, but and I felt like people were trying to punk me. And a couple of times people were trying to punk me and I didn't appreciate that.
Right. Totally get that.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I probably could have handled it in a different way, but I didn't. And I don't regret it. I don't. What you're not going to do is disrespect me. Now I know that I could have taken that a different way, but at that time, that was what I knew and it worked.
Yeah.
I would not recommend anyone
Survival.
else. Right. But I would say that Robin, again, she too has always remained consistent. Like I said before, like if it was a conversation needed to be had, we would have a conversation. But she like generally cares about like people, their well-being, what their dreams are. And like she would be like real, like you'd be like real futuristic. You're like, yeah, man, like our dreams are like attached to our souls even before, like it would be some crazy. I'm like, what are you talking about? But she was always like listening to music and always would have incense and just like her own vibe. And it was authentic. The other thing that I admired about Robin and also annoyed me was Robin could not be in school for whatever reason, sick, whatever the reason was. She'll come back and get an A. She would get like an A on her project. And I'm like, bitch, I've been here every day, like on time. Like, I'm getting C pluses, B minus. I don't understand. I was like, I gave you my notes. I was like, why? How did I get a lower grade?
Oh my gosh.
And it was not, it wasn't until I got to college that I recognized that I learned differently. Not like I got like a learning disability. It could be, but I don't know. But it was that one of my professors, she was like, the way you're filtering information, she was like, you're answering questions that are not being asked of you. Like, she's like, you're overthinking. Like, I was legit I'm answering shit that was not even on the page. It would be like one question, and then I have taken it like, I done went like down the street, around the corner.
Around the corner.
Right? And I was like, And then I realized that I did the same thing in science. I did the same thing in math, and that's why I would always struggle. And the only reason why it helped me in like social studies and English classes is because it was the art of storytelling. So even though I would kind of go around people were engaged by it. So they'd be like, okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And so
I was more like straight to the point. Like they would ask a question, I would restate the question and the answer, give the answer, done.
It's a formula, right? When I worked at a school, that's what I told my students. I was like, okay, you repeat the answer, repeat the question within your answer. You can do a therefore, however, something, in conclusion.
Bring it on home.
Right?
Wrap it up.
And be done. Like, I done gave you 4 extra paragraphs. That's not required. Like, you
were just very thorough.
I was, right? And it was hurting me in the process. And now I'm like, nope, this is what we're going to do. So, but that used to be, I'm like, damn it, I don't understand how she is doing that. So, one, just a super smart person, again, went around the corner, basically to say that you were super smart. But Robin is just like, she's just a really good friend. Like, Robin will give you the shirt off her back, knowing she only got that shirt. And doesn't, and won't like, and won't expect it back. You know, she's a bitch, here you go. Like,
there we go. No worries.
Don't worry about it. I'll get another one. You need this shirt.
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
So I'm gonna share this story. So I've shared this story a couple times, but one of the things is like, I do not, Robin and I share the similarity. We do not like asking people for help. Like,
no,
won't still like do it. Now I will. Well, now I'm married, so it's kind of different, but actually it's not. Let me tell you what happened, and I'm gonna segue back in this. So Friday, I was backing out to go pick up Malcolm from daycare, and girl, lights came on in my car, and I was like, Jesus. So it was flashing, like it was like my tire pressure was low, so things flashing.
Oh yeah.
And then the numbers was like 30. I'm gonna edit that out, so hold on. It was like 30, 31, 30, and like 18. And then it was like flashing underneath it. I was like, oh, damn, is my tire flat? So I get out, and it's much lower than the other 3. And then I realized, I was like, I've never put air in my tire of the 39 years. Well, I haven't been driving since 23. That's another story. But I was like, 22. I was 22. I was like, I don't know how to put air in my tire. And I was like, I can read and I can follow directions, so this should be pretty easy. And again, we live in the cut, so I was like, well, I think I can make it to the gas station, put the air in, and then go get Malcolm. And then, so I had this plan in my head, and I was backing out, and then I was like, hold up. I was like, wait a minute. So I called Eric, and I was like, hey, he was working from home that day, and he had went up to campus. And I was like, hey, my tire thing just popped up, and it says like 18, this other light is on. I'm gonna take it up to the gas station, put the air in the tire. I'm like, is it pretty simple? And he was like, park the car and I'll go get Malcolm, and then I'll take your car to get the air in it. And I was like, you sure? So I was like, I can handle this, saying whatever. And he was like, it's not a problem. I'm gonna go get him, and then, I'll take your car in. And then when I pulled back in, I was like, I don't know why I didn't think of that instantly. Like,
right.
I was trying to like problem solve and do this thing, and I didn't have to. Now there's some situations where, I might have had to do it myself, but like, even like small things like that, I still have an issue of like, I can handle it myself. And I think being like, growing up with my mom, it's just like, somebody got to do it. So if it ain't Ethel,
I got to figure it out.
They got to figure it out. And I was just like, you're right. I will park.
I have a whole husband that can do.
You know what I'm saying? That's what your only job, but like that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, he like, I appreciate him, and it's just not like, but I'm also not calling him every 5 minutes, like, oh my gosh, like the toaster broke, like.
Exactly. Sean has to remind me sometimes, of the same thing. He'll be like, you have a burly man. Like I'll be trying to open something, and and I'm stubborn. So like, I'm trying to open it and I can't open it. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try this and let me try this. And he's like, I'm right here, but it's just like, I'm conditioned to like, I'm conditioned to rely on self.
Yeah. And I was like, and that's the whole point of like a partnership. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Now I know in y'all household, y'all don't have gender roles, but over here, I do. Cause I will not push a lawnmower to save my life. Girl, why did I think the lawnmower came with a button, first of all? So, so this is like, we first moved here, I was like, I could do this. I can, I was like, I'm going to try the backyard. Because he was like, no, go do the backyard. Because if you mess up, ain't nobody going to see it but us.
Right.
So I'm like, where the button at? And he was like, what button? I was like, you got to hold this thing there. I was like, oh, I'm done.
Weak.
Girl, this whole inside of my hand I was like, oh, this is some bull. Like, oh, there you go.
You see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so my point was, again, went all around the corner. So this particular time I had just finished college, and I had just enough money to pay my May rent. And I had a job, and I thought I was starting in June. And this is before I realized like people can't start until like the new fiscal year of business.
Right.
So they were like, yeah, you'll start like after July 4th. And then you have to work like a month. Like I wasn't getting the checks like August. And I was like, Jesus, I had one credit card. I think it had like a $400 limit. So I was legit like using that for gas and groceries.
Food,
and thank God that I did not, it was just me. So I was buying like them 5 packs of Rice-A-Ronies from, what was that store? Mark's. Was it Mark's?
Oh, wow. You took it back.
Yeah. So, and like Mark's is like I don't know. I felt like that store was like stuff that fell off a truck because every week it'll be some random shit in there. It would be something totally random that you don't need. It'll be like furniture, and then it'll be like 10 cases of Aveeno, and then the next time you come back, it would be like rugs and like all this unnecessary glue. Like I'm like, what in the world? Or like irregular T-shirts and like Tupperware with no lids. Like I'm like, who is getting this shit? But I would go in there because they would have like the 5 for 2 or the 5 for 3. And I'll be eating some Lipton rice noodles. I used to love me some milk before I realized I was lactose intolerant. And tea and water and Jiffy muffins that would hold.
Oh yes, honey.
Yeah, that was sad. It was sad.
And I was killing some cream of wheat too.
Yes. Yes. She's loves her the cream of wheat.
Put my sugar in there. Yeah.
So I remember I talked to my landlord because I had been there for a while. So I talked to him and he was like, he could give me a month. And I was like, okay, cool. So I am praying, I am fasting. I don't know where this money's coming from because I ain't got it. And God bless my mother, bless her soul. She had given me a car for graduation, and I was very appreciative of that. What I did not know, and what she did not tell me, is that she still had a balance on that car. And so they were calling me for the balance, and they were like, if you don't pay the balance, we're coming to get it. And I was like, you can come get this car right now. I don't have it to give you. I was like, sir, this is supposed to be a graduation gift. I don't have a job. And he's like, well, I'm going to come and repair this car. I'm like, let me know when you're outside because you're going to get it. And I was just waiting. Like, the guy never showed up, right? So that was like my first prayer. I was like, Lord, if you want me to have this car, like, make a way. If you don't, it's not meant to be. Come and get it.
Right.
I done rolled the bus since I was, 14. I was like, I am no stranger to the bus. Right. And this is before Uber. So it was just bus, later or the taxi. And they never came and got it. So I had my car. So I had one credit card and I was using that for gas, groceries. And then Pasiatis, God rest his soul, because he has transitioned on to. Yes. He was like, Michelle, he's like, I'm really trying to help you. I'm like, I don't have it. And and then it's crazy because you know what? Even when I did not have a job and had no money, I didn't think like, oh, Michelle, you can probably get assistance. Or, hey, you can probably get unemployment because you've been working since you was 14 and a half. Right. Like, it never dawned on me to go get help. So, I mean, needless to say, I was in my apartment praying, fasting, eating my noodles, and watching my basic television because I didn't know what to do. And my off again, on again college boo. Now that I think about it, I was like, I'm gonna pay my rent, but I digress.
That's all.
That should have been another red flag.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be another episode.
Oh yes.
Oh my God. I was like, ooh, love is blind, honey. Stupid.
Honey.
Now, to be fair, we were not together at this time, and he did buy me the computer that I needed to apply for jobs. So I will give him that. But I preferred that money to go towards rent because that computer was not cheap. Okay, like that could have got me 2 months.
You feel me?
Right. I'm like, that kind of. He did pay for my admissions check and my license plates though, because that was also. He saw me one time. He was like, "Are you driving around expired tags?" I was like, "I am," because I do not have money to get them. Like, I am. He was like, "All right." So
I did that back in my day too, honey.
No, yes, you did. Yes, you did.
A lot. But that's a whole nother.
Right. So, I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're gonna put me out of here. He's gonna put me out. I don't know what's gonna happen or whatever. And so I was in my apartment, staring at the wall. Just wasn't. It was just good. It was like a faith moment because I just really did not know. Like, I don't know all I can do. Yeah. When I realized I didn't, because I really could have got assistance. But anyway, so these tiny little nail things are on my door. And it's Martine's. We were like the Black friends. Like, she lived.
Yes.
I think at that time she lived across the hall from me. And then she's like, "Hey, Pumpkin," and she was like, "Do you have you paid your rent?" Or so, I forgot what you asked me. And I was like, "No," and I'm trying not to cry. I'm like, "No." Like,
I remember that like it was yesterday. Like, that's crazy, and that was a billion years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. She was like, she gave me the money to pay my rent. And so, I mean, when I paid Pasiatas like the next day. And I still had a balance. I was like, "Yo, I got a job. Here is my letter." Like, I will give you your money. And he was very gracious, and he didn't have to do that. He didn't. Yeah. He was also lightweight, a slumlord. So
yeah, he was.
I'm probably one of your best tenants you got here, sir. I think you need to chill out.
What's going on, amazing people? I hope you are enjoying part 2 of my interview with my best friend, Robin Martine Doolin. Stay tuned for part 3 tomorrow.
Lord have mercy. Listen, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Cooking soul. Christmas Day.